Hello, everybody. I am Will. I made a promise a couple videos ago to practice daily for y'all's entertainment. So I also forgot one little announcement that I was making. I I did not eat very well in college, and as a result, I gained about 15-20 pounds. And as a result, I'm currently sitting at, I didn't check my weight, but I'm sitting at about 310 pounds. So I wanted to start giving all updates on my weight as well as practicing so that I could have at least two journeys in one. I know, efficient. So I forgot to weigh myself today, but starting tomorrow, I want to say, I'm going to weigh myself before the videos and give y'all an idea of what I can eat, not eat, and lose or gain weight. So, I probably won't tell y'all today because I don't feel like making a fourth video just to tell y'all my weight, but I am going to start doing that tomorrow. Also, the first two videos, this one and tomorrow's, will be at about the same time, but after that, my family comes home and they don't like it when I practice, so I don't know where I'm gonna do those. Probably outside, so at least I'll get a nice view. But I'm gonna do them either in my room or in the kitchen for the first two. Today's in the kitchen or facing the living room. This is my living room over here. It's a bit messy at the moment because I'm by myself and I don't feel like sorting laundry. But I'm probably going to be outside for the next two, or for the next who knows how long, until I go back to college, essentially. There's going to be a couple weeks where I don't practice. My family's doing or planning a vacation at around the last week of my summer or the week before the last week of my summer. I don't know what that vacation's going to be yet, but depending on what that's going to be, I'm not going to be able to practice because one of the ideas they're currently floating around is a cruise, and while that would be nice, we have neighbors and I don't have any time on a cruise to practice, so that's not going to be nice. Then there's holidays. I think the 4th of July we're planning on doing something. I'm not sure what yet, like I said, but depending on how we do that, I'm not going to be able to practice for my family's sake. And then a couple other holidays I'm currently forgetting about. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I think today we're gonna do about 30 minutes. I'll probably post what I'm doing in either description or in the title if I don't do very much. But these first couple of videos, until I find a piece to play, are going to be mostly scales and some advanced techniques I've been working on. Not recently, of course, but stuff that I was working on before I sent my saxophones in for repair and got my wisdom teeth removed. So I'm not going to sound as good as I tend to do in the performances you've seen me in, because I haven't practiced for a month, and what they say when you don't practice is that for every day you don't practice, you lose 2 days of practice. So currently I'm sitting at around February of my second semester for scale. So if that's true, I probably just need to warm up a few days and then I'll be all right. But either way, I'm going to be doing mostly scales, and this will be about 30 minutes long from whenever I start playing. I'm kind of just procrastinating at the moment, but I'll get much faster into the videos as time goes on. I just wanted to give a couple more updates on how this is going to work. That way I don't have to do this again. I'll probably do it every 20 videos for new people. If they decide to show up and not watch all the practice sessions, I would completely understand. And then eventually I'm going to move this over to a live stream once I figure out how to do that, when I get a computer and stuff. So that'll probably be several dozen videos down the line. I am flat broke right now. Let me check how much money I have in my account. It's not great. I have let's see. Oh, cut it out. All right, well, it's gonna make me log in, but I think I have like $30 in my account. It's not great. I can't even buy the idea of a computer for $30. So I'm going to be doing this on my iPad until further notice. I think I might buy like a cheap laptop, and if I do that, then I'm gonna get a webcam, and that'll be a lot easier to deal with than this. But until then, you're stuck with the iPad. So without further ado, I'm going to practice for about 30 minutes. I'm not going to speed it up. I'm not going to cut anything out. Y'all are just going to have to watch all 30 minutes of practice, or not. I'm not your dad. You can click off at any time. The first few minutes of this video are updates, but after this, it's going to be all practice, a thank you, and then I leave. You get to hear my inner thoughts as they come out when I get frustrated. And you get to hear all the annoying things that a musician does while practicing that you would absolutely hate if you had to live with one. So without further ado, wait, what? I'm losing my mind. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up my metronome real quick, because that's the number one tool a musician uses when practicing. I currently use Pro Metronome for my metronome because it's easy to navigate. And then when I tune, which I don't usually while I practice, I use Tonal Energy. It is $5, it might be $6 last I checked. If you're a musician out there, I would highly recommend it. It has a metronome, I just don't like it. And it has drones that you can use, so like you hit the little sustain button. You can set it to an instrument of your choice. I prefer the B flat clarinet sound, and then you can push any of the notes and it holds it out for you like that. It'll be set in the instrument's pitch, so if you want a C instrument, that way you could just do concert pitch. You could pick like oboe, and it would do that for you. You can change the octave. And that's yeah. It's awesome. It's a great app. Go ahead and buy it. So I'm not going to use it today because I don't need to, but I am going to use my metronome because I absolutely need to do that. Yeah. Not sponsored, by the way. I guess I should mention that. Today we are going to be working on a scale series, which means I'll break it down. Right, I told you I was going to practice like 2.5 minutes ago, didn't I? I lied. It's going to be a scale series is just like something like 10 different scales is really the wrong word, but 10 different things I have to memorize in one key. So I will be listing them as if I'm playing the pitch on my instrument, not the actual concert pitch, because I'll be switching saxophones from time to time. My tenor is sitting right over there. I'm probably going to use it in the next one just for the heck of it. But this currently is my E flat alto saxophone. So when I play a C, it's going to sound like a concert E flat. But I will be calling it a C for the remainder of the video, and I'll tell you which one I'm using. That way, if it sounds different, then you know. So this is going to be the C series. That's why I used C as an example. And I have to do major scale in thirds. You'll know what this sounds like when I play it. Harmonic minor, melodic minor. I have to do a pentatonic scale, major. I have to do a whole tone scale, and I have to do, actually that's all the scales. Then I have, or not all of them, but we'll get to the last one. And then I have to do a major arpeggio, a major triad, a minor triad, a diminished triad, and an augmented triad. You'll hear those in a minute. I'm going to do all of these in order as I say them. Then I'm going to do a major 7 arpeggio, a dominant 7 arpeggio, a minor 7 arpeggio, a half diminished arpeggio, and a fully diminished arpeggio. And then finally at the end we're going to do the chromatic scale. Every series has the chromatic scale. I'm going to say this now so I don't have to explain it later, but the chromatic scale is always the same. You just start on a new note. The reason we do that is because starting on some notes is weird. So I'm going to start fairly slowly at about 60. I might go down from here if I mess up a lot because I haven't played in a while. But we're going to start at about 60. I might take it down to 40. And we're going to do 16th notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, like that. So I was a little slow, but that's okay. So I'll have it right here where y'all can hear it. Hopefully it's not too loud, so they will hear that way. It's a little better. We're going to start with the major scale. So I'm not going to explain it to you every time, just this once. That way you can get the feel for it. We're going to start with the major scale. They are all extended for you musicians out there. Just means I'm going to do the full range. So. And then if I mess up on it pretty bad, I'm gonna do it again. I missed a few notes. I played an F sharp where there was supposed to be an F natural. You get the idea. Then I'm going to take it up. Because I'm not practicing for long today, because my embouchure isn't what it used to be, I'm going to be taking this up by units of 8. When you practice by yourself, you should do units of 4. So I'm going to go from 60 beats a minute to 68, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing I just did. 3 good playthroughs of the C major scale extended. And I'm going to do that until I hit a certain number. I think today I'm looking for 120, so whatever it happens to land on that's above 120. I think 124 is what it's actually going to land on, but I'm not good at math or anything. I am very good at math, by the way. I just don't care to do it right now. Yeah. And then you might have noticed, if you didn't, then whatever. You might have noticed that sometimes my notes were a bit uneven. If I'm trying to work on that, what I'll do is I'll take this this tempo marking here, and I'll double it. And then I'll play it at exactly the same speed, but now it'll have a division in it. A subdivision is what we call it. idea. Just for my sake. There, now you can hear the beat. But I'm actually going to try something new I haven't done before. I'm going to do what's called a pickup, and then I'm going to start on the second note of the scale. That way I can get the other notes combined together. So it's going to be like. Like that. That is really weird. But it helps me work on both sets of notes. Like that. I've actually never done that before. That worked out really well. So now I'll take it up to, well, we're at 768, so 76 now. I've taken it back down to speed because after a while that fast one gets really annoying. Like when we get up to, I guess I said 124, so that would be 248. I don't want to listen to that, so we're just going to do 76 for now. If it's uneven, we'll worry about it in a minute. And then that time, I'm not scripting this, by the way. This just happens to work out really well. I messed up what are called the palm key notes. These are the palm keys. There's 3 of them. One here, one here, one here. You might not be able to see it because of the glare. There you go. Now you can see them just fine. And I play them with not really my palm like this, but I play the first one with, they're kind of like the balls of your feet, but right here is the first one. I play the second one on this finger, and then I play the third one here. And then that means I can go. Really, I think you're supposed to do it like this, but I find it more comfortable to do this. That way I can keep my fingers arched. You might notice that my fingers are arched instead of flat. This is very bad. Do not do this. It is supposed to be nice and arched so that the tips of your fingers land on the keys. So, and then I would practice that little bit there. So I'd go, I'm sorry, this is the high notes part. Like that. So and it gets better when you do that. So I'm gonna now do a full run before I change the metronome. That was better, I would say, personally. So 84 now. I'm not going to show y'all because y'all can figure that one out. 84. '92. is I broke up the scale into smaller pieces based on beat. Ba-da-da-ba-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, like that. I can't sing it, but I broke it up into pieces. That way, if there was a piece I was weak at, I could just practice that. That also kind of helps with the like that. That helps with that. That's kind of what I was doing there. But it helps when you do the full range, or if you're doing runs in a piece. So like one of the pieces I played, you might have seen it on the, well, actually you might not have seen it on the channel. It was Fantasy sur Thema Regional. And one of the bits, I'm gonna really attempt to play it, but it was like, it was like that, so I'd go. I don't remember how it went, but I would take it and I would break it and like do like 2 triplets at a time until it did the whole thing. I used to be able to play it from memory, but I don't remember how to do it anymore because I haven't played it in a while. But I would take it and I would do it like that, or I did Bach's First Cello Suite, so it was. I'll turn this metronome off because it's messing me up, but. So I would go. Like. Now I can't remember how it goes for some reason. Either way, you get the idea. That's what I do when I need to break down a run of some sort. I break it into chunks and I work on each chunk, each tiny little piece. So we're gonna get back to the scale now. Yeah. There. 100. We're gonna stop at 100 for today because I'm already at 13 minutes of practice and I haven't showed you the rest of them. So. Now we're going to take it to 60. Again, back it down to 60. We're going to do the major scale in thirds. And this is where that blocking piece, that little bricking thing, the little, what did I call it? Chunking bit comes in handy because this is a doozy for every instrument. You will never find an instrument that can do this easily. It doesn't, like, it's hard. It's supposed to be. That's the major scale in thirds. That is hard. That I'm actually surprised that went so well. I'm not gonna lie. It usually doesn't. Like, I'm gonna do it for the sake of argument, but let's say I was at 120, so double the speed. Like that fast. That's the speed I'm supposed to be able to do it at. And I think I messed up like 4 times in that little bit. That was half of it. So it's hard. It's supposed to be. It's so when you go up, you don't, like, you might have heard it. So when I was going up, I went. very easy to go. Or like, yeah. When you're practicing, you might notice that you do that too. That's normal. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just practice. Get good at it. Just practice that out of there. That's the whole point of the speed exercise, is that you can do it cleanly, slowly. Eventually, you can do it cleanly, quickly. So you're going for cleanliness, not speed. Don't ever go for speed. It's not worth it. Go for clean. You need to be clean when you play. You might have noticed I'm not so clean today, but I'm kind of recording this as a tutorial video, and the next few are going to be actual practice sessions. But this is going to be called my first practice session, or maybe I'll just call it 0. That might actually be a good idea. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call it practice session 0. But we're going to do we're going to go up one more after this, and then I'm going to continue on through. Actually, no. We're just going to continue on through the scales because I have 13 minutes left, and I might explain these a little farther. So, the reason these are all worth playing is for agility's sake, but also because a lot of pieces like to use, like, not all pieces are going to be, like, not all pieces are straight up and down. There's a lot of jumps in them. There's, like, you're never really going to find a lot of pieces that are just, like, scalular, which is what we mean when it's, just, you know, close notes. They're going to have a lot of jumps. In that little example I played earlier. That is an arpeggio. You have to learn how to play those. Those are essential to your playing. Or when I was doing the Bach example, those are all some arpeggio of some sort. Now they're kind of flipped a little bit to make them more difficult, but that's the idea behind it, is if you can do like, you're just taking out some notes. So, but the reason we do them is because of stuff like that. A lot of our pieces are very fast and aren't always scales. They're usually quite strange. If you need a piece to listen to kind of get an example of this, there's a really famous saxophone piece, at least among saxophones. It's called Prélude, Cadence et Finale. It's French. And in the piece, it's got like no key, so it likes to jump a lot. And that's kind of a perfect example of why we need to be able to do all of this stuff, is because we never know when we're going to come across a piece like that. Or if we're coming across a piece that's got pretty scalular stuff, like a lot of Baroque pieces do, we need to be able to do our regular scales, because a lot of them stay pretty streamlined the whole way through. Or if they don't do that, then they use a regular arpeggio. So now we're going to do the harmonic minor scale. This is, if you're going to hear a minor scale, this is probably the one you're going to hear. If you took piano lessons, if you took any lessons of any kind, this is probably the one you would learn, because the natural minor scale, I'll play it for you real quick. The natural minor is that, and that second to last note, isn't a very classical music thing to use. It's actually more rooted in like contemporary styles like rock, jazz, pop. You know, pretty much anything you would hear on the radio would go, and that wouldn't be an issue. Or like video game music does it a lot. But if you want to do something more classical, which is what you would be learning in a lesson, you would do the harmonic minor, which sounds like this. Sorry. Like that, that little jump in there. Like that. So that is the harmonic minor scale, so I'll play the whole thing. This is, yeah. And then the other one you might hear a lot of is the melodic minor scale, and that one's a little bit sillier. That one is interesting because it does both the natural minor, but it only does it in one direction. So the scale is different in both ways. So on the way up, you're going to hear kind of a harmonic sound with a little bit of difference in it. And then on the way down, you're going to hear what the natural scale sounded like. And then you're going to hear it back up when I do that little last tag at the end. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm quite bad at these too. Like that. That's the melodic minor scale. You have to do it both ways, or otherwise it doesn't really count. But the idea is so that you can get the little like that, so it kind of rises up, but it falls down like a minor key would. That's kind of the idea behind it. It's a really neat sound. I think it sounds cool, but I prefer the harmonic minor scale myself. Now, the pentatonic scale. You're going to hear a lot about this if you play guitar, but every instrument should learn it. Is going to be 5 notes from either the major scale or the minor scale, depending on which one you use. I have to practice the major scale version. If you want the minor version, you take the 6th note and you start on that one. Or the 5th note, I guess, in this scale. So in a major pentatonic scale, you have 7 notes and then it loops back around to the first one. So in this case, I have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it loops back to C. So in a pentatonic scale, you're going to take out F, which is the 4th note, and then you're going to take out B, which is the 7th note. So you're going to have C, D, E, G, A, and then you're going to loop back around to C, like this. I'm also kind of bad at this one. And the reason you do that is because notes 4 and 7 in a major scale are your dissonance notes. They're the notes that that move a song forward in a way. So when you have, I'm going to play those 2 notes back to back, and you'll kind of get the idea. You might not have enjoyed that sound so much, and that's because that's a dissonant interval called a tritone. And no other note in the major scale makes a tritone with a different note other than 4 and 7. So the idea is you can play any note you want from the pentatonic scale over its home key note, and it sounds kind of cool if nothing else. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that real quick. Let me get my clarinet sound back out because I like it. Shut up. So I'm going to have, that is the note I've been playing. So over here. And then I'm going to play the pentatonic scale over it. the idea. But if I play the 4th and 7th note, the 4th note's going to sound good because it happens to be a pretty nice interval away from it. But I'm going to play the 7th note now. Did you like that? You shouldn't. Doesn't sound very good. So the reason you have a pentatonic scale is so that you can sound good over your bass note, which is this, in this case, your drone, no matter what you play. So I'm going to play the 4th note now in case you're curious. So the reason that's dissonant is a little bit different. It's not right now because this is actually higher than what I'm playing. But the idea behind that being a dissonance rather than a nice consonant interval like any of the ones I just played is, for whatever reason, a major 4th, which is your first note, and then your 4th note stacked on top of each other in a major scale like this, is called a major 4th, or a perfect 4th. For whatever reason, it sounds strange. We don't really know why this is dissonant, but it is. And after a while, it has like an uncanny sound to it. Like, it sounds good, but not really. Like, like, I don't know. It's strange. So I'm losing time. The whole tone scale is probably, you've probably heard it before, whether you think you have or not. It is, so in Western theory, you have 12 notes, and the whole tone scale takes every other note, and you only get like 6 notes as a result, but it sounds pretty strange because, well, it does. So, metronome back on. You might know that one. It's commonly associated with like a flashback in a movie. That's what that's really for. It's strange. It's weird. Has like a ethereal quality to it. It's strange. It's not supposed to sound like a normal scale. It's weird. But it's good for practicing because there's only 2 of them, and you only have to learn 2 of them. So the other one, which is a half a step up, sounds like this. Like that. And that's the only other one. You might think, well, aren't there 12 notes? Don't you have to start on 12 notes? But ultimately, the scale is going to sound the same whether you start on 1 note or in the middle of the scale, like you might think. So I'm going to start on the C like I did a minute ago, and then I'm going to start in the middle of the scale, which is an F sharp. Something's wrong with my reed, I think. Then I'm going to start on F sharp. Like, they don't sound different. They don't. They're not supposed to. It's the whole tone scale doesn't really have a key. I call it the C whole tone scale because I happen to start on a C, but there would be an F sharp whole tone scale, a B flat whole tone scale, a D whole tone scale. It doesn't matter. As long as the note is in the scale, you can call it that scale. It's weird. That does not apply for any other thing except one, and we'll get to it when we get there. But now we do the major triad. Triad, as it might sound in the name, has 3 notes. It's going to be the first note of the major scale, the third note of the major scale, and the 5th note. So it's going to sound like this. Nice and neat, you know, sounds good. It is common for you to hear that, so you might have heard, it's in like a horse race. I don't remember what they actually call it, but it's just a major arpeggio. That's all it is. It's kind of interesting. Or taps. I'm not going to play that one because I don't know it very well and I don't want to be disrespectful. But that is all a major arpeggio. I might explain that in a future video, but not today, for y'all's sake, because it's already past when I said I was going to be done. But I'm gonna go through the rest of them now. So the minor arpeggio is the same idea, but it's the first, third, and fifth note of the minor scale. So it's gonna sound mostly the same, but with a different note. If I could play my own notes, that'd be cool. But either way. So then you have the diminished arpeggio. Now this one's going to sound a bit more gnarly, and there's a few more down the line, but this one is kind of the starting one. It's going to have that tritone I talked about earlier, this time from C to F sharp, and it's the first note of a minor scale, the third note of a minor scale, or the flat third note of a major scale, if you really want to think about it like that. And then it does something interesting. It takes the fifth note of both, because it's the same note, and it takes it down half a step. So instead of a G, it makes it an F sharp. There might be something in my sax, I don't know. But it's going to sound like this. Like that. That is more dissonant. You were already a little shaky and scared, I'm sure, because that's the point of that one. It's the darkest and most dissonant thing you can play as a triad. Now the brightest and also dissonant triad you can play is called the augmented triad. I talked about it earlier, but an augmented triad is going to take that fifth note, and instead of playing it down, you're going to play it up. So you're going to play a G sharp, or an A flat, if you like the A flat better. But you're going to play C, which is the first note. You're going to play the third note of your major scale, not your minor scale, your major scale. And then you're going to play your fifth note up a half step. It's going to sound like this. Now, that one's interesting, and the one before it, but I'll explain that one later. But that one's interesting because all of the notes are divided equally. All of the notes are divided by what's called a major third, and that is from your first note to your third note. That is a major third. So each note in the 12-note chromatic scale, which I'll get to later as well, is called a half step. And there are 4 half steps or 2 whole steps in that major third, but we're going to call it 4 half steps for now to make it a little easier to think. So you have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then you have E. So then you can go up 4 half steps from E to, I'm going to call it G sharp, E to G sharp. So you have E, F. There is no E sharp unless you want to call it E sharp. It is F. Don't know why. Then there is F sharp, G, and then finally G sharp is the last note. So you have and then you have G sharp. You start on G sharp, A sharp or B flat, B, C. That is your augmented triad. I'm gonna turn the metronome off. I haven't been using it. I'm sorry. Then after that, you have your 7 chords, which is when you take your triads and you add the 7th of the scale to the top of it, and then you play it like you would a triad. So for the major 7th, it's pretty simple. 1, 3, 5, and then you're going to add the 7th note, which I said was B. So, like this. Sorry. Messed up somewhere, but either way. Then you're going to, in order to make it the dominant 7th triad, you're going to take that top note, that B, and you're going to push it down a half step to make it a B flat. And that's another video for another day. We're gonna call that another video, but you're gonna do this. I think you might know, but I'm gonna push it. We're gonna leave that aside. It's not for today. Then the the minor 7 is like a major 7, but it's minor scale, natural, notably natural minor scale. So it's C, 3rd note, which is E flat, G, B flat in this case. You might one of the, I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't really count for today's video. But then you do half diminished, which is you take the G down to an F sharp, and you keep everything else the same. That's my personal favorite. Y'all gonna have your own favorite? That's my personal favorite arpeggio. It sounds the best to me. But then you're gonna do fully diminished, which is what I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But you take that B flat from earlier and you take it down a half step again to make an A. Really a B double flat. I'm not gonna explain what that is. It's just an A. So, like the augmented triad, the fully diminished 7 chord is, or just the fully diminished chord is equally divided. It is also, I would like to say, the only symmetrical chord in all of music theory. It's the only one you'll ever find. The reason is, instead of 4 half steps, each note is divided into 3 half steps. So you have C to E flat, then you have E flat to F sharp, or G flat, and then you have F sharp to A, then you have A to C. Like that. And it's and that's how you do it. And it's all dissonant because there are not 1 but 2 tritones in there. You might have noticed the C to F sharp is a tritone like earlier. That's a tritone. The other one is from E flat to A. That is another tritone. So you have, so that's why that sounds so gross, is because it is all dissonant. All of it is dissonant. There is no non-dissonance in there. It is supposed to be as dissonant as you can get in chromatic harmony generally. It is super dissonant as an arpeggio. Then the final scale I talked about is the chromatic scale. I've mentioned it a couple times. It is every note in 12-tone Western theory. It is just all of the notes, all of them. You might have heard it in a cartoon when something was falling, Like that's the chromatic scale. It sounds like this. That last bit's hard, but you know, that's what the chromatic scale sounds like. It's all the way. That's the whole idea. It's just so you can practice kind of the weird fingerings, like this F sharp instead of this one, or this C instead of the other one, which I think I did. I think I did it. But that's all of the scales I have to memorize. I have them all memorized. I've been playing them for years, and I've been playing them the way I have been playing them for about a year now. In case you're curious, if somehow you didn't know already, I go to Stetson University. The current professor at Stetson University for saxophone, his name is Dr. Rosenberg, Dr. Timothy Rosenberg. He is the one who made the scale series, to my knowledge, and he's the one that has me memorize all of these. And while they're a pain in the butt to practice, they are absolutely fantastic for your technique and your speed. And as a result, they're kind of like vegetables. You're supposed to eat your vegetables. So that is, I guess, really more like 40 minutes of practice. I'm not going to make y'all sit here any longer, especially because I have to go to the bathroom. But I thank you for joining me on this long video. I will see y'all tomorrow for an actual practice session. But yeah, that is how it works. I might do some more theory explanations if you have any questions about some of the stuff. But I was giving you more or less the basics today. So, thank you. I will see you tomorrow.